Air travelers know or should know there are lots of things you aren't supposed to take aboard a flight, including various liquids, spray cans, and toys. But you may be surprised at how many guns inspectors have been finding in passengers' carry-on bags.
The Transportation Security Administration has seen a big jump in the number of firearms coming into airport checkpoints. And that can mean serious trouble for travelers found with them. Let's learn more from CBS News transportation correspondent Kris Van Cleave. Kris, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, what are the regulations for taking a gun on the plane?
Well, basically, you cannot bring your gun on the plane or in your carry-on bag. You just can't do it. You can check a gun. It has to be in a locked, hard surface gun case, and you have to tell the airline you're doing it. But as far as bringing a gun physically into the cabin or in your carry-on bags, you just can't do it.
I want to naively believe these are people who just simply forgot they're in their bags, not people who actually thought I want it in the carry-on bag. Are there specific airports where there are more offenders than others?
There are, and the top 5 airports for these are pretty consistently the top 5 every year. But what's alarming is that the numbers continue to grow every year. So Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Denver, Phoenix. Those are typically your top 5. Sometimes they move around a little bit inside the top 5. But what's interesting when you look at this year, for the first 6 months of this year, which are the numbers that were just up on the screen, everyone but Denver is pacing ahead of where they were for last year. So rather substantially so. Across the board, you're up about 11.5% as far as guns being discovered at checkpoints.
So typically, what kind of weapons are they finding?
Well, so it's not just guns. I mean, typically it's a pistol. That's a pistol that fires shotgun rounds. But it's also, you'll see things like axes. Yeah. People will bring knives, inert large shells. And you can't do it. So those novelty hand grenades, that's another thing that will stop. That's an inert hand grenade.
To have, yes. But you know, I have to say, having brought on contraband in the past, they often give you that option. Do you want to send it, mail it to yourself? If you're caught with a gun, is it state by state dependent what happens to the actual gun? So
here's what's going to happen if you bring a gun to the checkpoint. They're going to see it in the X-ray machine.
Right.
That's going to stop that line. That line's going to stop. The bag that weapon is in is going to stay in that X-ray machine. The police are going to be called. It's then up to the local law enforcement to sort of decide how they're going to handle that. Some states, you will be arrested immediately. Other states, they may take a different action, but you can face criminal charges, and the TSA has the right to go after you for civil penalties. That's a fine. Yeah. Not to mention that you're going to be delayed. You're going to be detained, at the very least, by the police. That security line's going to stop, so all the people behind you are now going to have to filter into other lines.
And be quite aggravated at you, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not like when you bring on a bottle of water. It's...
Right. Now, if you have, let's say you do have another kind of prohibited item, you will be given the option, let's say you had one of that inert hand grenade. Yeah. Still likely going to result in the police being called out there, but it's not illegal to possess. So they'll tell you have the right to surrender it to us, or you can take it back to your car, or you can put it in your checked luggage under most circumstances. But that still is going to slow you down.
It seems like this and a series of other problems have really led to a lot of long lines. I know this summer, every time I've traveled, I've sort of budgeted in an extra hour. Is the TSA seeing all these things, seeing things like numbers increase for people who are bringing in guns, knowing that to shut down lines? Are they doing anything to make the lines shorter?
So, yeah, so the TSA has also seen a huge surge in flyers. You're seeing almost double-digit increase in flyers this year compared to last year. So that adds a lot more volume at the checkpoints. And that's what we saw in May, was at the same time as they were dealing with a staffing shortage and focusing more on the screening process, you had a bunch more people, and that really backed up the lines. What we're starting to see is the TSA roll out new screening technology, first in Atlanta, and then it's coming to Chicago O'Hare, Miami, LAX, and other places that they're hoping will start to speed up the line, as well as the increased staffing and things that we've reported on pretty extensively. And this
Bring it to New York. We need it.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. You'll see it in Newark and JFK before long, too. And these lanes are pretty interesting. They'll allow like up to 5 people at a time to access the lines at bins, put their stuff in, and if one person's going slow, they can sort of move the bins around so that the line keeps moving, even if that one person, brought 75 items that they need to take off, and they've got 4 jackets and their boots and everything else. They don't stop the whole line.
Anything they can do would be a help. All right, Kris Van Cleave, thanks so much. Sure.